Hello, how are you? How you doing? This is my name is Arash. As you can tell and see, this is not the most elaborate video that you probably have seen in your life. It was not meant to be even anything close to that. Given my lifestyle, it was really the best chance I can get to actually try to get out my message and let people know about how life would be like for somebody like me. Um, Believe it or not, right now the time is 3:54 in the morning. It's 21st of February. Just another average day in my life. Simple said. I don't know what to say. Life of pain and more pain because the way the system is devised in this country for people who are not able to perhaps meet their financial obligations was not meant to be good, but rather more coercive and more consequence and rather punishable. That's really my take on it, at least. Maybe other people don't feel that way because chances are they don't they're not as sensitive and hyper yeah, they're not hypersensitive to it like I am, and they don't experience things that I do experience. It's very complicated to talk about it, and I'm actually happy that I know that it's complicated, number one. And number two, it doesn't make me happy, but um, at the end of the day, when I think about it, what I suffer from is so bad that I don't even want people to really have a sense of essentially even know how it just really even how it pains me. God forbid it if they actually fall for it, in spite of the fact that I know those are the very people who actually are the cause of my pain. I was 22 when this condition, I started having it when I was 22, and funny is that it wasn't diagnosed till I was like 24. It's so weird, right? It started in, so I was born in 1984. This started in February of 2007. That's what it ignited, basically. And long story short, it took about 2 years till I was actually kind of diagnosed. Because like most individuals out there, I didn't know anything about. I mean, I had the symptoms. I knew what I'm going through, but I didn't know what it is. And further, I honestly didn't know how this is gonna affect me, how my life is gonna be like to begin with. Till it, yeah, I mean, right now we're 2020, in February 2020. So yeah, officially it marks 13 years, and I fucking can't believe it, man. What triggered this me wanting to make this video, I've made a lot of videos before prior to this, and for some reason either I wasn't able even to publish them. I don't know if what's gonna happen to this video. I'm hoping I can actually put it out, because my my life is so fucked up. It's insane. There's no way for you to understand it. But yeah, I mean, the only ways maybe that I can really relate to how life is for somebody like me in particular is to just give you an example of how things are. I mean, right now it's 3:54. It doesn't make me happy, but I'm actually homeless. I don't deserve to be like that, but I am homeless. Um, and the reason for it is because I don't know. It's hard to explain it. It's just like, wherever even I got a job, somehow something happened in the most in the most unexpected way. That is what I mean by that, is that oftentimes I know what my triggers are, and give my triggers, that is something that you come in touch with. So really the way that if you really want to avoid having any triggers is to really isolate yourself. And you think about it, if you're trying to have a job, in some ways that means that you have to have some interaction with people or with things or with objects that they could potentially somehow trigger you. So you have to have contact with people, you have to do that. And that being given, even though you know what your triggers directly are, somehow this will happen to you. I'm sorry, I didn't even say what my problem is. And I think part of it that I didn't say is because I fucking really don't know what is wrong with me, but part of it is actually schizophrenia, where you hear voice in your head, and but it's not. In my case scenario, it's not just hearing a voice; it's a state of trauma, PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. Um, and you might be surprised now I'm talking to you. You might find me very calm and collective, but it might be just a little nanosecond after I feel somehow the trigger that it's really gonna get me, and you'd be like, holy shit, what the fuck is wrong with that guy? That guy's a psychotically, like, he needs to go to the hospital right now. Yeah, it is really bad. That's what I'm trying to say. But the thing is that nobody can do anything about it. Unfortunately, speaking of the people and the surroundings, to begin with, my experience in America, because this happened when I was in U.S. and for good or bad, for the most part, still I've been in U.S. But society has no understanding but misunderstanding, which they actually feel very boldened by their belief. They don't even want to give it a second thought. They have a very earnest misunderstandings about what schizophrenia is, or what disorders like that basically are like, and they're very quick to actually judge you, and not only judge you but act up on it. Um, and then again, in a very simple manner, things can get very complicated. I'll be very honest and very frank with you. Literally, my life is nothing but running away from, like, I feel like people are after me. And by particular, I'll be honest with you, I have not done anything illegal in this world, but I feel like the police are always after me. It doesn't make me happy to say that, but yeah. You know why? They're not after me. What I do know is that how a little thing, the way I've been treated by people and the experiences that I had, how little things can turn into a real, like, stopping or terminating point for me. Like, I could end up in a psych unit, I could end up in jail, I could end up probably even could get shot at, killed. I'm laughing at it, but I've actually been through these things. It's not funny. There's absolutely nothing funny, but for you people, you think you're doing the right thing for yourself, and you feel very liberal and emboldened to act in a certain way, and you don't know what you're doing to that person. And it's very strange. The mentality of Americans and mindset is a very strange, very earnest, I don't know what's the word for it. It's really, speaking of psychotic, very psychotic mindset. Like, I think I've harshly seen that anywhere else in the world. And minimally, I'm from Iran originally, and as much as shit we have in Iran, you gotta understand, being a bully and being somebody who is in a position of trying to fuck with other people is really reserved for people who work for the government. And even though saying that and how government is a monopoly in Iran and a lot of people merely to have a living and make a living, they do work for the government. And what I mean is that I hope you get an idea. So that category that I just defined to you, bullying, that means, that's a very broad thing, includes a lot of people in Iran. But then again, a lot of people don't fall into it, and those that do fall, not all of them, they get to do that. You really have to be in a special position to have it. Now then again, you don't even have to work for a government if you have some connections, some people that you can get away with doing some shit to people. But all said and done, it's funny is that I've traveled to other countries that is aside from Iran. Well, mainly I've been to in Turkey and Georgia, and none of them was a pretty experience. But I think my best experience yet was in Iran, and in a way is my worst experience. I think Iran was a very interesting experience in a way that most of my pain similar in America, but rather in a more humiliating way, because the last thing I ever wanted was to, and I didn't realize that till I got into it, was to actually being humiliated in front of my own people. Like it's devastating. Like that second when that thing is getting to you, and you just, it's just like something, sneaking a needle inside you. You're not thinking about fucking, oh my god, you're not thinking, oh shit, Johnny's sitting next to me, my fucking girlfriend is sitting next to me, my the girl that I fucking have a crush on is sitting to me. Oh my god, that fucking gorgeous girl that is sitting to me. You're not thinking about that. Somebody, stings you with a needle, you're gonna scream. You don't care who the fuck is sitting next to you, right? And you don't think you're doing anything wrong, right? It's just a very normal behavior pattern, right? Now, think of that same manner where something happens to me and I feel that fucking stinge, but it's not a physical thing, it's rather a mental thing that happens to me. And it makes me react to it, and the way it works is that just as unusual that the trigger is, that is, it's purely in a fucking in a fucking very abstract, rather mental way, is that is, you don't have any physical thing getting to you. The response to that is also very unusual too. So I start acting weird. I start taking my shoes off, you know, making weird. I mean, it's just beyond. And funny is that I've been in psych units. I ended up being, well, I can't really call it psych units, and I don't want to remember anything of that scenery, but I was also ended up in some fucking what's the word for it? Dreadful place that they took me in Iran, Tehran, because of the way I was acting, and I was on the street basically. That was also part of it. What I mean is that though, however, that was the place that also saw a lot of people who had issues like him, but I never saw anybody like myself. And I think the reason primarily for that, I'm sure that there are, and there will be people who are even worse than me. Like, well, I mean, I'm not sure if specifically talking about my symptoms and my reactions and how these things work. I'm not sure how worse can it be. But one thing I know is that there are potentially people in me, but I can tell you this one thing. The reason that I didn't even get to see them in the very places that you would expect them to see them, whether you're just a spectator or you happen to be like me who happen to be in that position to see them. I think the reason for it was that if somebody's bad like that, they will not tolerate that, man. You know, this is not something you can live with. No, not one like that, and there's a good chance that, yeah, because of my very same issue that I run away from people, like the biggest chunk of my day is spent just running away from things. That is how I stay alive. That is. And you're like, what are you running away from? From fucking a small shit that can turn into a bad thing. You know, in country, it's a country in America, all he needs to do is some shop owner see me in a fucking corner of his parking lot, you know, acting, fucking like a crazy good dude. He's gonna grab the phone. A couple of, who is gonna show up, and they're gonna tell you, oh, okay, well, you gotta get out of here, trespassing. You know, um, now that is actually not too bad. There could be a chance that they can just take you away, or they could just observe you and they see you doing something, and they're just gonna come and take you anyways. You know, that's actually not too bad. And yeah, I mean, and some frustration happens anyways when that trespass, because I mean, you're like, no, why? What did I do? And I mean, yeah, I mean, seriously. You might be like, that's not very pragmatic. That's not, but that's exactly the first response that comes to your mind. And you're like, what did I do? I didn't harm anybody. I didn't touch nobody. I'm not doing anything to it. I'm not even talking to anybody. My crime is to be a somebody who suffers from devastation. And instead of you guys, as a society, people having to help me, you know what I'm saying? This is terrible. So yeah, and that could lead to another. You could be arrested. You could end up in prison. In prison, you might get beaten up. A lot of other shit can happen to you. So yeah, a little thing for me is a huge thing. And you have no idea what I'm talking about. It's so bad that I don't even want to talk about it, because part of what I go through is PTSD. Even talking about things kind of brings that scenery life to your mind, and it literally makes you go through the same pain. And at some point you might see me in front of camera actually, I try not to be really showing myself, acting in a certain way in front of camera, but you're gonna sense that, oh my god, this guy is, is whatever, he's acting local. I don't know, I hate to say that, but it's insane, it's just terrible. So what I was just telling you about, going back to what I was telling you about Iran, is that, so, like, I find Iranian girls some of the hottest girl ever, and some of them could be potentially some of the meanest girls ever. So what I was saying is that, yeah, so when I was in Iran and I had those things happen to me, it was the most humiliating experience of my life. And for that one reason, I kind of actually promised myself not ever go back to Iran. Because, yeah, it was very humiliating. Like, it just really, like, burnt me alive. Like, I was like, oh my god. I was like, fuck you, God, man. For what reason? You know what I mean? Because, you think about it. If you have cancer, I'm not wishing for cancer, and I don't want that, but I don't think there's anything good about it. I've heard she was kind of my age, matter of fact, and she's my aunt's granddaughter. And the thing about her is that she was like 14 or 15, and somehow she got cancer. And I heard some horrifying stories about her treatment. We don't even know how she survived that. But, well, she lost one eye somehow, I guess. That's one thing happened to her. But she ended up marrying, and she's a mom, and she has a daughter now. That I think her daughter is probably not 14, 15 years old now. This goes way back when I was actually when I was actually in high school, it happened, and it feels so bad for her. Because, but yeah, I mean, she still, thank God, at least she recovered from it. But, so what I'm saying is, I don't wish for it, but, think about it. When you have something like that, at least you're not humiliated. There's nothing that you want to be humiliated. You're not acting out of norm. For the most part, you happen to be in a treatment center, you've been, fucking going through surgery, going through some kind of They might have to take a bone sample from you, which is very painful. But you're not acting strange. Every behavior pattern that you're presenting is very normal. You have a place, you have a place to stay, you don't feel run away. Part of me, believe it or not, I never thought it would turn out to be, but pretty much every night that I have a place is actually just one night. And the night that I stay there, somehow something happens to the extent that makes me next morning literally run away from that place and go do some fucking crazy 1 hour, 2 hours, God knows how long it's gonna take, crazy, just like a psycho, like freak, just running around the town, literally. And after that, I would kind of recover and finally go back to my day. And after that, I'd be like, I'm not going there again and looking for another place. I've been just kind of doing Airbnb. Maybe I should be grateful because at least as expensive that it is still, it kind of gave me the venue to at least to have a place to stay some nights, Because with a hotel that would be way too expensive, right? So yeah, that's the thing about it. Yeah, I've been staying just in a separate Airbnb place, and it's very devastating. Part of it is because of the cost, which at some point, yeah, the cost is like you're like, fuck man, I'm spending like $50, $40 a night, some shit like that's like a lot of money. I don't think rich people can afford doing that. So yeah, you're like, I don't have that much, and I don't. Yeah, and the reason like for the last few nights I've been homeless is because fucking I just don't have the money to fucking do that. And it's not funny because there are nights like now which because of the fear that I feel like fucking they're gonna come and wake me up in the middle of the night. I can't even sleep. So I think yeah, and it's like a cycle. Every few nights this happens. Um, yeah, I don't have a choice. There's nothing I can do about it. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it, man. This is but it's not. I can go on and try to explain it and give you sense, but I feel bad even because I don't think even knowing about this is good. But yeah, I give you an example like uh this might be convenient for a lot of people, but for me, for example, going to the restroom, like some public restroom, let's say like I don't know, like a fast food, Burger King, someplace like that, and trying to just clean myself, and literally just wiping yourself off. I'm not talking about like taking shower. That's not what I'm referring to. I can't take shower. I don't take shower that often, anyways. I really don't. No. Usually, if I do take a shower, it will be just like a cold shower, if you will. It's hot water, but I'm just running water over my body. That's all it is. Um, because that's also one part of the thing. You have no idea what I'm talking about. I don't know how the hell to even explain this, man. But cleaning myself, that is using like a detergent, some kind of cleaning agent, being a soap, and washing my body off, it's like some crazy thing where you suck in the negative energy of your surrounding into you. You have no idea. I don't even fucking know how this works, man. All I know is that like sometimes where I know I feel some negative energy somewhere, even washing my hands with soap makes me fucking feel like this. I have to let this out, and I have to go outside the house and yeah, do that things. And speaking of that, guess what? Give you a hypothetical scenario. There's a chance, where am I staying? There are roommates. There might be girls, and some girls especially, they're so stupid. There are guys who are stupid too, but well, they're stupid. That is, I call them stupid because they see something, and yeah, they act stupid up on it. This is why I call them stupid. And it only takes one time to make you realize that to feel like, how painful what you're doing could be end up be for you. It only takes one stupid person. You know, and you have a society where people don't even tell you. Like, I wish somebody would literally come to my face and be like, you know what, Arash, you're acting like a psycho here. I don't know what are you going through. Is there any way you can just get out of here? I wish people would do that. I mean, it wouldn't make me happy, but it would be by far better than thinking that, I'm fucking, man, and that's this why I tell you, man, you Americans are very sick people, man. Very like like a spy, like a fucking like a life for me is just living like a spy. That's how I feel. Like every second somebody might, fucking strike me. For what reason? For reason of fucking dude, you act weird. We don't know what your problem is. But I tell you one thing, we don't fucking care. We don't give a shit what your problem is. I tell you one thing, we don't want you around us. You know, and you're the people, these Americans are the people who claim that they're the nicest people. They're actually always very expressing so much emotions, especially for justice, democracy, that kind of bullcrap. Fuck you, man. Say that to some shit who actually haven't lived this life, haven't been through it, you know? Matter of fact, a lot of homeless people, they've been treating me like crap because they don't have the problems that I do, Their problem is that drug, they fucking drink, they just want to be drinking 24/7, or they want to do some drugs or some shit, or a combination, and they don't give a shit about anything. And kudos to them, man. You know what, as long as they're happy doing what they're doing, obviously they're okay, I guess, doing that, and hey, I guess after all, that's what a lot of people do anyways. It's just that most Americans who do drugs or drink, they have a place to stay too, so they have both of the best of both worlds. But I guess a lot of these people somehow they just feel like, you know what, fuck it, man. Instead of paying for rent, I just pay for drinking, fucking drugs. I don't know what the hell. That's their thing. But yeah, I've been treated shit like with them. I have homeless people who kicked me out of places, where I literally was fucking around for like an hour or two trying to do, my thing, getting my thing out of my head, so I can go back doing my rituals, basically, crazy shit, basically, yeah, in a very, maybe, rather actually being self-righteous, because they're like, okay, because, yeah, they know how the society feels about us, and they be like, you know what, you're a liability for us. The way you're acting is gonna get attention, and somebody's gonna grab the phone, and that's all it takes, and you're gonna destroy us too. So they prefer to fucking, kick me out of their places, where I was hanging out. Well, it's not their place; it's a public place. They don't have a place. Well, a lot of homeless people, walk around behind the dumpsters or somehow. That's another thing to talk about. But whenever I've thought about the reason I kind of sometimes do go to those spots is because those are spots that, they've been kind of identified as relatively being passive about, they're like, okay, well, that's one spot that they're doing this shit. Okay, so let them do this shit over here, as long as, they don't fuck around elsewhere. So I feel like, that would be one place that I can do that and get the minimum attention and, be myself, basically, and getting to actually be alive and live. You don't know what I'm saying. Living, for me, become a luxury. You have no idea. They literally, it's like living in a war zone. It's not literally, that's what it is. It's beyond, worse than that. It's worse than living in a war zone, because, I was telling this myself, the other day. I said, Arash, at least when you're in a war zone, hopefully knowing that you're in a war zone, you do, because there's anarchy, you probably have a gun yourself too. Number two, you probably know who your enemy is. And usually and hopefully your enemy comes from the front of you. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully maybe you can defend yourself. But in this society, and you can't do that, you know. So yeah, I mean, you don't know, man. So yeah, I mean, just give you a sense, man. Um, I started working as an insurance agent for a company, um, and part of it I know is because I'm not even putting enough into it. It's not that I don't want to, it's because I find it very difficult. Um, I mean, this whole fucking trespassing, man, is just the psychotic shit that you fuck with my head. It's so bad that I literally sit in a car in a shopping center, and I'm not talking about now, I'm talking about daytime. You don't know how fucking every second I feel like they're gonna come and tell me, you gotta get out of here, you gotta get out of here. Um, you know, so ever since that happened, part of my job would be like outside sales, try to go around, knock on people's doors and businesses, and I can't. I feel like, if I'm fucking walking to some business, not for the idea of purchasing something, that is trespassing. And even though we're supposed to talk to the person in charge or the manager to try to get their permission, or to actually talk to, them or people like that, or the way they do it, basically, I can't do that. I told myself, I can't do that. So I told myself, you gotta look for another job. Sorry, man, that doesn't do it. I looked for something that's in the office. I wouldn't be able to function like that. That's not for me. That's not something that I can do. So yeah, that's what I've been doing, and I've been dealing with that shit. Living like a chaotic. Yeah, speaking of people, a lot of people who actually happen to be homeless, the very homeless people, they actually want to fuck with somebody else. They come to the shopping center. He comes and literally, not only he cuts in front of you, just he's trying to fuck with your head, basically. Not only that, he kind of stops right in front of you and trying to peek in the car. Now, God knows what he's thinking about. Maybe he's hoping that maybe there's a pussy inside the car. That he can maybe get something out of it. No, but I mean, think about it. These are the very people that they're actually live the same life. And even though you're not doing anything to them, they want to fuck with you. God forbid, somebody who actually feels like, what, hey man, let me fuck with that guy. He's sitting there. He looks like he's fucked. Let me go fuck with him. And all you have to do is just grab the phone, just like that. And haga na vida. You got your date brightened up. So yeah, this is how it is, man. So yeah, part of me living on the street is because, I can't I can't manage to last in one place. I can't, somehow something happens to the extent that literally I feel like people are gonna kill me. I'm telling you, you don't understand, man, because there's that massive social contract out there where they feel like, if somebody's like me, they think they can do anything they want to me. They can fucking arrest me, they can fucking beat the shit out of me, they can do anything with me, and they don't need a reason for it. There's this another amazing thing called in America called disorderly conduct, where you can get people for reason or not reason, and you can bring them to court, and you can convict them, and you can put them in jail. And what's it called? Disorderly conduct. What did I do, man? Do you think I do this because I fucking enjoy it? And what is the whole sense of freedom, though? yeah, disorderly conduct, but I mean, everything is considered like, I mean, in a way it should be disorderly. Like, I mean, I guess if you dress like a, like, you know, unless at night, a lot of black people have this sagging thing, which I think that's really fucked up anyways, right? I mean, you know, you're walking around with your underwear falling. I mean, sorry, your pants are falling, you know. And you know what, I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't give a shit. As long as I'm not doing it, that's perfectly fine. If you're okay with that and you cool and you find it cool and you like doing that, that's fine, man. You know? But nobody talks shit to them because I'm sorry they're black now. You know, you will call you racist and so forth. And you don't see that many white people right now do that shit. Anyways, so yeah, man, this every little thing bothers me, you know. I give an example. It doesn't make me happy to talk about this, but I haven't seen a doctor, like a psychiatrist, in 3 years. Why is that? So much negative feedback I got from my surrounding that the last time that I wanted to, or actually I did go to a psychiatrist's office, I think I saw a sheriff's car parking the cars in the center, and the way I know my brain works, I was like, Arash, I know if I walk into that building, every second that I'm in that building, I'm thinking about just one thing. They're gonna storm and raid the fucking doctor's office, and they're gonna fucking kill me. Because they think because they know who I am, what is wrong with me, and I'm coming and I'm actually telling the doctor what is wrong with me. That's all. You're not saying that you trying to do anything crazy. You're not saying that you want to kill somebody. You're not saying that you want to kill yourself. None of this shit. It's not about any of this thing. It's just about one thing. Fact that they know you have this condition and you came to the place that obviously the people who have those issues, they come there. So I was like, oh, what? I'm not doing that. Fuck it. And even passing from that place, I literally thought that guy's waiting for me. I was like, oh my god, that guy's sitting there waiting for me to come so he can arrest me. I haven't even gone inside the building. Like, God forbid if I actually go inside the building. So, yeah. This is the part that really is interesting for me. You have a lot of people in this country where they feel like they're entitled to fuck with you because you happen to be sitting in their supposedly parking lot. God forbid that if you're fucking in front of their house or somehow happen to be maybe in their lawn, or I don't know. It's not your fucking putting your tent up in their lawn. You just happen to be there for 5-10 minutes maybe. And of course we have this fucked up thing called guns in America, which lives that fake sense of super villain, or fucking, you know, the fact that like you can be a thug and in name of protecting yourself you can do anything you want to other people. And apparently if they're doing it, it's totally acceptable and it's justified and fucking they're actually commended for it and praised for it. But if somebody like me, I'll tell you one experience that I had. I was in Orlando, in a kind of a fucked up part of Orlando. If you're from Orlando, you might know what I'm talking about. 441, Route 441, and that area with Sand Lake Boulevard. That's the part I'm talking about. There's a lot of drug shit, prostitution, you know, homeless people sitting around there. Or a hotel, the Royal Hotel, something like that, Royal Inn. Well, I forgot. There's a Wawa across the street, basically. there's that Wendy's Royal thing. To give you a background, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about for you from that area. Yeah. So yeah, one day I was there and I was hanging out by a building which is like abandoned one. There's no business running right there right now. Hold on one second. Let me just move to this 7-Eleven because I don't want to fucking. And it's funny is that like I came here like last 2-3 nights I've been coming here, and it's so weird. Like previous nights I actually I was tired and kind of trying to get sleep here, and I think the nights that I mean, it doesn't always like that, but funny is that those nights I believe that I actually had a better chance fucking getting some sleep. And it was okay, basically, that's what I'm trying to tell you. But now that I'm actually like, what I'm even saying is like a self-fulfilled prophecy that is the more like sensitive you are, it actually like, I don't know. Basically, if you're thinking shit is gonna happen to you, chances are. If you're not thinking shit, chances are, even if there's a good chance, probability that it could happen to you, it would not happen. That's what I'm trying to tell you, So yeah, it's a very traumatic, fucked up life, man. But yeah, I've been living this shit, and it's just, as you see, this is all part of it. You see, like, I honk because I feel like so much of fucking tension, and like, when I feel like people are being assholistic and they're trying to fuck with me, that's my way of fucking, perhaps, I don't know, whatever. That's one of my fears, basically. So yeah, I mean, literally you can get in trouble for anything. For. But I mean, here's the thing. Here's a twofold piece of puzzle. There's a lot of people who might be doing this. They might be homeless. They might not have a place to stay. But the thing about those people is that even if some shit happens to them, it doesn't really bug them that hard. They don't have the problem like I do. So they might do that same exact thing, same location, same spot, the same shit over, and chances are the same shit is gonna happen to them again, and they don't give a shit. And this time they might just be like, you know what? Okay, obviously maybe I can't really or shouldn't go real fuck around there. Let's just go to another place. You know what I'm saying? They're not triggered like me. They don't get heightened like me. Yeah. Yeah, let's tell you about the reason why I haven't seen a psychiatrist for like 2-3 years. Because of that fact that like I became like that. And after that incident, I saw a doctor, a psychiatrist, for like two sessions through basically telepsychiatry. It was like over the internet, basically sort of thing, without being physically present in doctor's office. That's what I'm trying to get at. So, how the fuck do you say this shit? Oh yeah, and even those instances, still, it was harsh on me. And yeah, so it was harsh on me to the extent that, like, yeah, I mean, it's so harsh, like you don't know when I go to the pharmacy to pick up my medicine, how fucking. I actually told the doctor. I said that. I said, you have no idea how hard this is for me. Going to the hospital and pick up my antipsychotic medicine, basically. And, the pharmacists are not stupid. They know what that is. They might not know exactly what your problem is that you're taking it for, but they might have a good get good, idea what it is. They know that at least it has something to do with some kind of a psychosis. Could be anything: bipolar, depression, schizophrenia, etc., etc. But they're not stupid. They know what that shit is about. So I'm like, shit, man. Are they gonna kill me right now? This crazy, man. It's not. It's real. It's for you. Lucky enough, you have this privilege and awesomeness. So you can just call it crazy and swipe up to the next video or another one, or just basically go after your life, whatever that is. But for me, I have to live with it, and I have to continue living with that thing. And it does hurt again and again and again and again, regardless of how many times you go through it. I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna cut the video here because I know that usually when it gets to like 15 minutes, it just kind of doesn't work anymore. So I'm gonna close it here. But yeah, one thing I do want to say, man, please be nice to people, especially people who you look like they have some problems. It's not always what you think, and even if that's what it is, what you're thinking, as long as they're not harming anybody or that is themselves, don't be stupid. And even if they do something here or there that's a little bit off or stupid, just take it that, you know what, they gotta do something to try to be a rebellious, to try to really break off that fucking character or what is bothering them, So yeah, be nice to us, man. We just want to have a life too. You don't have to, and all this fucking stupid laws, trespassing shit like that. They all need to go away, man. They fucking need to go away.